"Come here, you empty monk." This is a statement made by the Buddha about Elder Pothala, a scholar well versed in the Tripitaka and renowned for teaching the Dharma to 500 monks. Despite possessing vast knowledge, he had yet to truly understand the nature of all things, the natural laws of the Dharma. All his extensive knowledge was only theoretical, based on the literal meanings of words. In Zen terms, it was superficial understanding. In Buddhism, what matters most is direct experience, understanding the natural principles of all phenomena. Having much knowledge can sometimes become a hindrance, a knowledge barrier. The Buddha often referred to him as the empty monk, implying that knowledge, if not paired with practice and true understanding, is hollow and empty. The Buddha's words were directed at Pothala, a monk known for his mastery of the Tripitaka. Despite his vast knowledge, Pothala had not fully penetrated the nature of all phenomena or the natural laws of the universe. His understanding was limited to theoretical knowledge and semantics, meaning he understood only at the surface level. Buddhism does not merely emphasize accumulating knowledge but stresses realization through direct experience. Knowledge, when not properly applied, can become a knowledge barrier, an obstacle on the path to liberation. By calling Pothala empty monk, the Buddha was not only critiquing him but also subtly warning him. Knowledge without practice, without understanding the true nature of all phenomena, is meaningless and brings no real value. Realizing the significant shortcomings in his practice, Elder Pothala resolved to change. He approached many monks for guidance, but they all refused, believing that his pride, based on his vast knowledge and high status in the Sangha, was a barrier. Undeterred, he humbly sought instruction from a young novice. This novice, with his keen wisdom, guided him to let go of his ego, focus on right concentration, and practice the Dharma with a sincere and respectful heart. Through persistent effort, Elder Pothala overcame his inner barriers and ultimately attained enlightenment. This story illustrates that letting go of the ego is the key to liberation. Elder Pothala's ego, his pride in his knowledge and status, was a significant knowledge barrier that prevented him from understanding the true nature of all phenomena. When the Buddha called him the empty monk, he was not only pointing out the superficiality of his knowledge but also awakening him to the necessity of transcending the ego to delve deeper into the core spirit of the Dharma, letting go, awakening, and merging with the truth. In Dhammapada verse 72, the Buddha teaches, "Indeed, it is harmful. The ignorant crave knowledge. They destroy their own light. They chop off their own head." This verse serves as a sharp warning, awakening those who have gone astray on the path of practice. The Buddha does not shy away from the truth. The craving for knowledge, the desire to accumulate wisdom, or the pursuit of achievements and status, are, in fact, the sources of harm. These desires are like a fire that burns the intellect, causing the mind to sink deeper into the darkness of ignorance, destroying the clarity that lies within everyone. This is a wake-up call for all of us. The path to enlightenment is not about accumulation but about letting go. When we release the delusion of knowledge, fame, or attainment, the mind can return to a state of stillness and purity. True wisdom does not need to be accumulated. It has always been present, waiting to be realized when all attachments dissolve. If we do not awaken, if we do not let go, then no matter how learned we are, we simply create more obstacles on our own path to liberation. The story of Elder Pothala is a vivid example. He was well versed in the Tripitaka, but his pride and ego kept him stagnant on the path to liberation. Only when he let go of his self-satisfaction did he truly connect with the teachings of the Dharma and finally attain enlightenment. This is a profound lesson about the danger of the ego and the importance of letting go to progress on the path to enlightenment. The ego is the root of attachment and the deep cause of suffering. On the spiritual path, the ego not only manifests as arrogance but also through rigid beliefs and preconceived notions we impose upon ourselves. These create knowledge barriers, obstacles arising from misunderstandings and misinterpretations of knowledge, preventing us from seeing the true nature of the Dharma. The ego is not only an expression of arrogance or self-satisfaction, but it also manifests in the feeling of self-definition as the knowledgeable one, the one superior to others. Clinging to this image makes it difficult for us to acknowledge the truth that we still have shortcomings. The ego obscures humility, preventing us from being open to new lessons. For Elder Pathila, the moment he humbled himself to seek guidance from a young novice, something his ego had previously prevented him from doing, marked a turning point in his journey toward enlightenment. When knowledge is used to embellish oneself or assert the self, it ceases to be a tool for liberation and becomes a burden. Instead of helping us delve into truth, it merely keeps us trapped in the shell of words and theories, far from true understanding. Therefore, letting go of the ego not only helps us overcome the knowledge barrier but also opens the door to receiving natural wisdom. Today, many people have the ability to memorize or copy knowledge from others without truly understanding its deep meaning or essence. This phenomenon is not limited to ordinary life but also seeps into the spiritual path. There are monks who speak fluently about Buddhist teachings, discussing compassion, non-self, and liberation smoothly, yet when faced with real-life challenges, they still exhibit anger, greed, and even attachment to the self. Sadly, some people place great importance on being honored, served, or chasing after titles and positions within the religious community. These things are completely contrary to the core principles of Buddhism, which emphasize letting go of attachments and renouncing fleeting achievements. What is called achievement of learning, or attainment of fame, in any form, becomes a knowledge barrier, an obstacle arising from attachment to knowledge, viewpoints, and personal ambitions. When the mind clings to these things, a practitioner cannot achieve liberation, because desire and attachment are the binding threads in the cycle of samsara. To walk in accordance with the true Dharma, we must let go of all attainments, and not allow the mind to attach to any titles or accomplishments. This is the true path to liberation, leading to peace and freedom in the spirit of Buddhism. The ego makes us view everything through the lens of I and mine, creating attachment to the notion that this I is a separate, independent, and unchanging entity. From this attachment, pride arises, an attitude of arrogance or self-satisfaction that emerges when we compare ourselves to others. Let me recount a profound Zen story about a meeting between a Zen master and a renowned scholar, who was considered wise due to his vast knowledge. The scholar, proud of his deep knowledge, approached the Zen master seeking answers to profound questions about the Dharma. Sitting before the master, he spoke endlessly, presenting a series of arguments, quoting scriptures, and posing challenging questions. The Zen master remained silent, listening with a contemplative demeanor. After a while, the Zen master gently stood up, took a teapot, and offered to pour tea for his guest. The tea flowed slowly, filling the cup, but the master continued to pour. The tea overflowed, spilling onto the table, causing the scholar to exclaim, "Master, the cup is already full. You cannot pour any more." The Zen master placed the teapot down, looked at him with compassion, and said, "You are like this cup. Your mind is already full of knowledge, biases, and self-satisfaction. If you do not empty your mind, how can you receive anything new and profound?" The words were like a bell ringing in the scholar's mind. He froze, realizing that his pride and attachment to the belief that "I know much" were the greatest obstacles preventing him from delving deeper into the Dharma. From that moment on, he understood that to truly grasp the truth, he must first let go of the ego, allowing his mind to become an empty cup, ready to receive genuine lessons from life and the Dharma. Pride is evident when we consider ourselves superior in knowledge, status, talent, or anything else the ego identifies with. This mindset leads to contempt for others, self-satisfaction, and a lack of humility needed to learn. On the contrary, when we feel inferior, we easily fall into self-doubt or envy, another form of ego attachment, as the mind remains fixated on the idea of "I am." A wise person is not bound by pride or inferiority. Ego attachment and arrogance cloud the mind, preventing us from seeing the impermanent and selfless nature of all things. The ego is the root of suffering, and arrogance is the thorn deeply embedded, hindering progress on the path. Only by letting go of the ego can we remove the veil of arrogance, cultivate humility and compassion, and open the way for wisdom to emerge, leading us step by step toward true enlightenment. The teachings are like a raft that carries people across the river. The words of the Buddha continue to echo, reminding us that knowledge, no matter how abundant, is only a tool, not the end goal. When we cling to knowledge as part of the ego, this, I know so much, we easily lose our way, mistakenly thinking that theoretical understanding is the same as true realization. But in reality, knowledge only has value when it helps us contemplate and practice, guiding us towards an understanding of the egoless, impermanent nature of all phenomena. The path of practice requires letting go, not only of material attachments but also of attachment to knowledge and titles. Holding onto the "I am wise" only creates a wall, preventing us from accessing the ultimate truth. It is this self-satisfaction that clouds the mind, making us fail to recognize that all we know is just a tiny part of the vast universe of Dharma. Only when we let go of the ego and attachment can we truly see the truth. Everything arises and ceases according to causes and conditions. There is nothing that truly belongs to us, or is us. It is only with a mind free of attachment that we can move forward with certainty on the path to liberation. Dear friends, today's video ends here. If you have any comments or feelings, please leave your comments below the video. Now, goodbye and see you in the next videos.